Good morning, fourth graders. I hope you guys had a good Tuesday. We're going to get started on our packet. So we're on to lesson 3 today. I'm going to go through the new learning and the let's do it and the let's try it. And then this afternoon at 2 o'clock, I'll be online and we'll be able to go through the packet together if you need some help or if you have questions. So just log on to Teams at 2 o'clock if you're not sure about any of these problems. All right, let's take a look. All right, so for lesson 3, we're going to be able to decompose fractions into the sum of smaller unit fractions using a tape diagram. So we're taking a unit fraction such as 1/2, and we're breaking it into 2 smaller unit fractions. So you can see here in my example, I have 1/2 is equal to 2/4. They take up the same amount of space. So I'm taking one larger unit fraction and breaking it into 2 smaller unit fractions. And this makes an equivalent fraction. So we can say that 1/2 is equivalent to 2. That's not a 2. I promise, guys, I will get better at drawing with a pen on the computer. So 1/2 is equivalent to 2/4. Okay, so you guys were looking at the new learning now. You can follow along in your packet or you can follow along on the screen. So here it says the total length of each tape diagram represents 1. Decompose the shaded unit fraction as the sum of smaller unit fractions in at least 2 different ways. So we're going to look at A. So A shows 1/5 here and 1/5 here, and we have to decompose it in 2 different ways. So the first way is if we just split each fifth in half into 2 equal pieces. So that's what they did here, and I'm just going to highlight it with my pen so you can see how we're taking each fifth. And this is when we were in class, we did this using dotted lines. Each fifth we're breaking into 2 pieces. And so that's like multiplying 5 times 2, that gets you tenths. So 1/5 is equal to 2/10. Now over here, we still start with 1/5. We're starting with the same amount, the same unit fraction, and this time we're going to break each fifth into 3 equal pieces. And that gets us 15ths. So see how I'm taking each fifth and I'm splitting it into 3 pieces by drawing 2 lines. I wish I could make my lines straighter. And when we go all the way, we end up with 15ths. We have 15 pieces now. So that gets you 3/15 is equal to 1/5. So let's try B now. So I start with 1/2, and this is the one that I showed you in the example. So I'm going to decompose 1/2 by splitting it down the middle into 2 equal pieces. So that is 1/2 equals 1/4 plus 1/4. So 1/2 is equal to 2/4. And then over here, 1/2, we're going to decompose each half into 3 pieces this time. So 1/2 is equal to 3/6. So it's sixths because some of you might say, oh, well, that's thirds, but you have to count what's here. 1/6, 1/6, 1/6, 1/6, 1/6, 1/6. And the amount shaded is 3/6. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. It says, draw a tape diagram to prove that 2/3 is equal to 4/6. Now, most of you guys will be able to recognize that we can prove this using multiplication because we've done that before. So down here you can see 2/3. If you multiply it times, let me try that multiplication symbol again. So times 2 halves, or 2/2, that will get you 4/6. So this multiplication sentence helps us figure out how many pieces we need to decompose our fraction into. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take each third and split them into 2 equal pieces because I'm multiplying by 2. So that's what we did here. We're cutting it. So now I have a total of 6 pieces. 1, 6, 2, 6, 3, 6, 4, 6, 5, 6, 6, 6, and 4 of them are shaded. So we get 4 sixths. All right, let's take a look at this one. It says, just gotta get some coffee for this one. Show that 1/2 is equivalent to 4/8 using a tape diagram and a number sentence. So again, we're starting with 1/2. So here what you can do is you can say, think to yourself, what do you multiply times 2 to get 8? Well, you have to multiply that times 4 over 4. And that will get you 4/8. So that means that what you're going to do is you're going to split each half into 4 equal pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that gets you 4/8. Okay, we're going to do a let's try. So now get out your paper that has this part that says let's try, and you're going to do this with me. So you're filling this in on your paper while I'm doing it on the video. I'll give you a second to get your paper while I get some coffee. Okay, it says the total length of each tape diagram represents 1 whole. Decompose the shaded unit fractions as the sum of smaller unit fractions in at least 2 different ways. So we already saw an example of this. So 1/2, they did the first one for us. They split it into 2 equal pieces, each half. So that gives you fourths. So that's 1/2 is equal to 1/4 plus 1/4. So this is 1/4. And this is 1/4. So that's where I got the 1/4 plus 1/4. So let's do it again. Let's take a look at this one. So here's 1/2, and let's see how much our whole is decomposed into. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Notice I have to count all of the pieces and not just the shaded ones, because if I only counted the shaded ones, then that would be fourths, and that doesn't make sense. But if you count all of them, you'll notice that we have eighths. So 1/2 is equal to 4/8. So that's 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8. Altogether, that's 4/8. So now let's fill out this dialog box. So it says, how many eighths are there in 1/4? Ooh, this is a good question. How many eighths are there in 1/4? So think about a fourth is half of a half. So that's that much. So that's 2/8. 2. How many eighths are there in 2/4? So 2/4 is the same as 1/2. So it's 4/8 are in 2/4. So what we're saying is 1/2 is equal to 2/4, which is also equal to 4/8. So 1/2 is equal to both 2/4 and 4/8. So 2/4 is also equal to 4/8. All 3 of these are equivalent. They all represent the same amount, which is a half. Okay, let's do another one. Says, draw tape diagrams to prove the following statements. The first one has been done for you. So it says, we need to prove that 2/5 is equal to 4/10. So here's 2/5. This first one has been done for us. So we're going to decompose all of these into tenths. Sorry, my dotted lines are not better. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And here I have You gotta do some shading. Four of them are shaded. So this is equal to 4/10. How many tenths are there in 2/5? It's 4. How many tenths are there in 1/5? So if we look at just this 1/5, that's equal to 2/10. Write a number sentence to show how the two fractions are equal. So here we can do some multiplication. So we have 2/5. We multiply that times 2/2. That will get us 4/10. All right, you're going to do your problem set on your own. If you have any questions, you can wait until 2 o'clock and log on to Teams and we'll do it together, or you can text me or call me. You can always comment on the YouTube video and with any questions, and I will answer them. All right, do your best, you guys. I'll see you soon.